Did anybody take the time to read this? Have you guys read this today?
Yeah, I read it, bro. This is powerful.
All right, cool. So let's go ahead and let's thoroughly read through this. So the first two aspects of this book, I totally forgot which chapter I found this in. I mean, I guess I could go back and I could command F the keywords here and find out what chapter. I'm pretty sure it's chapter 13. But the highlights here says the secret lies in the attitude of fearlessly accepting the challenge and confidently expanding our strength. This means maintaining an aggressive, goal directed attitude rather than a defensive, evasive, and negative one. No matter what happens, I can handle it, or I can see it through rather than I hope nothing happens. So, really great, right? Because especially having been a mentor over the past consecutive couple of years, I feel like a lot of people base their entire trading approach at the very beginning off of hope, right? I mean, look at the average retail crowd right now, especially with the recent screenshot that was shared in the CYPRX Discord, where you have all the hopium, all the hype out there, and all the bullish moon boy bullcrap. Nobody's really basing their investing and their trading off of strategy, at least not right in the beginning. And it's something that we all fall victim to. I know I sure did. But hopefully, being in this community, you guys are able to avoid that type of mindset and you can really start to put strategy, discipline, and consistency behind yourselves, whether you're an investor or a day trader in this game. All right. The second little tiny snippet it says, a crisis is a situation which can either make you or break you. If you react properly to the situation, a crisis can give you strength, power, and wisdom you do not ordinarily possess. If you react improperly, a crisis can rob you of the skill, control, and ability that you ordinarily have to call upon. So, in regards to these two snippets, I wrote, most traders think that their problems begin with a chart. They think the reason they struggle is because of entries, exits, or indicators. They blame liquidity, algos, market makers, macro news, volatility, pretty much everything outside of themselves. But charts don't make traders fail. Their actions do. A losing streak doesn't destroy a trader. A crisis in the market does not destroy a trader. And a single liquidation does not destroy a trader. It's how they react to those moments that either make them or break them. And that is exactly what these book excerpts teach. A crisis is a situation that can either make you or break you. If you react properly, it can give you strength, power, and wisdom that you did not previously possess. But if you react improperly, it can rob you of the skill, control, and ability you ordinarily have. In trading, this reactive gap, that space between what happens and how you respond, determines your entire trajectory. It determines whether you become the trader who improves, adapts, and scales into higher levels of mastery, or the trader who stays stuck in the same emotional loops year after year. So let's break this down, not from a technical standpoint, but from a psychological one. The problem most traders have is that they collapse under pressure because their mindset is defensive, fear-based, and crisis-oriented. When markets move against them, when unexpected volatility hits, when price drops sideways and their bias fails, most traders default into defensive emotional patterns. They panic, they hesitate, they revenge trade, they freeze, they abandon their system, and they try to avoid losses instead of managing them. They hope, they pray, they wish, they bargain. Now, I personally have fallen victim to every single one of these things, which is why I was able to relate and write all of them down, right? I know for a fact that there's been times in my career where I've panicked. There's been times in my career where I've hesitated because I was fearful of a previous loss. There's times where I've gotten upset that the market didn't go in my favor, and so I started revenge trading to try to make my money back. There's times where I've frozen, so on and so forth. And I'm sure that you guys can relate to these as well. They become reactive, emotionally charged instead of intentional. Fear replaces clarity. Ego replaces discipline. Survival replaces strategy. This one is very important here because, again, we as human beings are survivalistic based animals. We have a survival mindset. It's just in our inherent nature to think in terms of survival, right? The problem isn't the market. The problem is the trader's inner orientation. The passage I chose above shows this beautifully. The secret lies in maintaining an aggressive, goal directed attitude rather than a defensive, evasive one. No matter what happens, I can handle it or I can see it through, and saying that to yourself instead of saying, I hope nothing happens. Most traders live in that second line. I hope nothing happens. I hope CPI comes out good. And as you're writing or reading through these, if you've said any of these things to yourself, then again, really start to reverberate and go back over this PDF over and over and over again till it really clicks. Because I know for a fact I've said these things. Don't be the type of person that's involved in the market saying, I hope, I hope, I hope. I hope CPI comes out good. I hope my bias is right. I hope this reversal holds. I hope the market stops moving against me. Hope is not strength. Hope is not strategy. Hope is surrender disguised as optimism. And it is the mindset that destroys traders, especially during volatility. Because hope removes your power. It makes you passive and fearful. It makes you wait for the market to be kind instead of preparing for it to be cruel. A trader stuck in hope will always break under pressure. The real solution is adopt the crisis mindset, not to avoid difficulty, but to walk straight into it with intent. The lines from the book that I shared reveal a deeply powerful truth. Strength comes from fearlessly accepting the challenge and confidently expanding our strength. This right here is the psychology that elite traders embrace. They don't brace for impact, they lean into it. They see every tough moment in the market as an opportunity to grow mentally before they grow financially. This is what the book describes as moving with an aggressive, goal directed attitude. Not emotional aggression, not reckless aggression, not over leveraged, undisciplined aggression, but the aggression of presence, the aggression of awareness, the aggression of responsibility, the aggression of choosing to respond from strength and not fear. This mindset says, I don't need the market to behave. I don't need perfect conditions. I don't need everything to go my way. I can handle whatever appears. Imagine walking into every trading session with that at your core. Do you know how different your results would look? The shift from crisis reaction to crisis creation. Most traders believe a crisis is something that happens to them, but master traders understand a crisis is something that happens for them. A crisis is pressure. Pressure is information. Information is power, and power is transformation. When the market tests you, it exposes your emotional weak points, your discipline weakness, your lack of structure, your mental imbalances, your biases, your psychological blind spots. You cannot improve what you refuse to see. And nothing reveals the truth about a trader like volatility, losses, uncertainty, and unexpected market conditions. This is why you must welcome the crisis, because a trader who avoids pressure never develops resilience. A trader who avoids losses never learns risk. A trader who avoids difficult markets never gains adaptability. You don't build strength by avoiding challenges. You build it by walking directly through them. So, there is a practical solution. How to train yourself to respond like a master trader. Here's the process. Number one, rewire your intention from avoiding pain to move through pain. Stop asking, how do I avoid losing? How many times have you guys said that if you're the type of person who's going through a trading career right now, or you're on a demo account and you've taken L after L after L, and you just say to yourself, how do I avoid losing, right? How do I avoid drawdown? How do I avoid volatility? Instead, start asking yourself, how do I navigate this correctly? How do I grow from this? And how do I build a skill to endure this? It's all starting with the mindset shift and key vocabulary. Your goal is not comfort, mind you. Your goal is resilience. Number two, keep your goal in mind always. The book states that the essence of this aggressive attitude is remaining goal oriented. You intend to go through the crisis in order to achieve your goal. Most traders lose themselves the moment the price moves against them. They get stuck in the emotional weeds. They forget why they're in a trade, what their plan was, and what the bigger goal is. Crisis is blinding them. Successful traders stay goal oriented no matter what price does. Always ask yourself these questions daily. What is my long term goal as a trader? This is probably one of the most important ones, and why I put that first. Because again, remember, what is one of my favorite quotes? What limits most people in not only investing, but also in trading? It is the addiction of instant gratification. You likely have a long term goal as an investor or as a day trader. And when you repeat that long term goal, you have to understand that in order to get to that long term goal, it is not going to take some lottery fixed mindset that's going to just be one big win that's going to get you to that multi-million dollar goal, which it likely is for most of us, right? Most of us in this community have the orientation mindset of becoming multi millionaires. So what's really going to get you there? Small, consistent wins over a prolonged period of time, or one big win like most people think? It's the latter. It's the small, consistent wins. It's showing up when no one else does. It's going over the details when no one else does, right? It's back testing when no one else does. It's taking an L, learning from it, coming back to the markets with a restructured mindset when no one else does, right? Ask yourself, what skill am I strengthening today? If you had a shitty day in the markets, right? Move on. There's other areas and aspects of your life that you could progress and elevate in, whether it's physical fitness, spirituality, religion, mindfulness, whatever the case may be. What lesson is the market teaching me? And how can this challenge sharpen me? When your goal remains the center, the crisis loses its power. Number three, adopt the fight mindset instead of the flight mindset. William James called the difference between fight and fear or flight. Flight makes you emotional. Fight makes you focused. Fight does not mean force. Fight means clarity. Fight means commitment. Fight means consciousness under pressure. When you choose to fight, you stay present. When you choose fight, you follow your system. When you choose fight, you maintain your edge. The crisis becomes manageable because you no longer are running from it, you are engaging with it intentionally. And number four, practice crisis responses before you ever face one. Most traders only train psychology when they are already falling apart. Master traders train psychology before anything goes wrong. How? Commit yourself to things like back testing with very strict rules. Most people I see will back test with account sizes that they're never going to trade, with leverage that they're never going to use, and it just ruins them for when they actually come into the markets in real time. Simulate losing streaks. Study your emotional triggers. Write out your crisis response plan. What are you going to do when you lose, when you take an L, when the market teaches you a lesson, so on and so forth? Build routines that stabilize your nervous system. Breathing techniques. Aqua does this every single Thursday on his call. Do you commit yourself to breathing techniques, not on Thursday calls? Journal your reactions. This is very important. Not just your trades. You don't just want to journal and mark and annotate technical analysis on the charts, but how are you feeling during the trade? What were your emotional responses? A crisis is not the moment to discover who you are. It's the moment to rely on who you already built yourself to be. The final truth, a crisis doesn't shape you, it reveals you, then gives you the chance to rebuild yourself stronger. Every trader has a point where they break. Most have faced it multiple times. The question is never, will a crisis come? Because it always does. I want to pause right there. I don't know if you guys have seen, but in the CyPRX Discord and the premium chat, Camille showed a video that I had made back in 2022. And in that video, I talk about how there's likely to be a day where I lose over $500,000. Mind you, again, I had no idea that that was actually going to happen to me. And in that particular video breakdown, if you watch it, I talk about how even if I lose $500,000, I would still come back to the markets. I would still be a good mentor. I would still be a good trader. And I would still be psychologically sound in order to prevail and allow it to teach me a lesson and not give up. Then, fast forward in 2023 in September, when my forex funds got rug pulled because they were money laundering or whatever the heck they were doing, I lost $500,000. And so now here I am, still here, still mentoring, still prepared, still teaching, still moving forward. How was I able to do that? Again, it's because crises don't shape who you are. They reveal you, right? They give you the chance and the opportunity to build yourself back stronger. And I already accepted that mentality long before I ever even experienced the crisis. You guys have to be able to do the same thing mentally, right? So the real question is, what will you become through the crisis? Will you become weaker or will you become wiser? Will you become more emotional or more disciplined? Will you become fearful or more powerful? Will you abandon your system or solidify it? Because in trading, the crisis isn't the enemy. Your reaction is. Notice all the little tiny bold highlights I put in this PDF. Once you master your reactions, you master your psychology. But once you master your psychology, you master your execution. Once you master your execution, you master your results. That is the true evolution of a trader. Not through better indicators, not through more callouts, not through hype or hopium, but through a deeper mastery of yourself. And this is why the crisis is not something to fear. It is the doorway to becoming the trader that you always knew that you could be, or investor for some people's cases. If you can walk through it deliberately, with strength, with presence, with discipline, and with clarity, and with a goal in mind, then no market volatility can break you because you've already built the one thing that every trader truly needs, and that is a mind that does not fold under pressure, right? So those are my notes from this book in the Discord, Psycho Cybernetics. So that is my psychology spiel to you guys for the week and just my personal journal. I told you guys that pretty much all throughout my career, in any of the books that I read, I pick a chapter and I kind of just journal on it and I'll write notes on it while I'm reading it. And then I'll go in and I'll utilize ChatGPT to take all the notes that I wrote and I'll tell ChatGPT something like structure these notes in such a way so that way it's easily comprehensible for somebody to write it. And I'll turn it into like a PDF and then save it. And now, as of recent, I've been giving you guys access to these PDFs, and these are all just kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like training that I've been doing for myself over the past consecutive couple of years. Why? Because there's not really any point in reading a book if you're not going to attempt to apply it. So you're obviously not going to read a book with 13 plus chapters and be able to apply every single thing in the chapter or in the book that you read. So what I've done, just as a study for myself to make sure that I'm actually implementing what I'm learning in these books that I'm spending my time reading, is I'll take the time in one chapter, make highlights on it, write myself a PDF, and then reread that PDF, and it's just repetition, right? So hopefully you guys have enjoyed those. I've been doing them once a week for about 3 weeks now. You guys can find them in the educational PDF section here. My previous ones, if you guys have missed them, where's it at? Right here. But yeah, that is the psychology spiel. If you guys have any notes or anything that you guys want to cap on or talk on or expand on, then floor is open.